players.
Well, let's put Kevin on quickly because we have our next guest that's going to be coming in. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just want to talk some NBA. I got a quick question for you guys. So a lot of people have been saying Luka Doncic, he's a shoo-in to be an NBA champion. Like, there's no doubt about it. This dude's a future champion. And my response is, I don't think they realize how hard it is to win a championship in the NBA. And you look at the amount of great NBA players that have never won a championship. And I feel the league is as competitive as ever right now. And what do you think about that? Do you think this idea that he's going to come in and win a championship in a couple of years, and no doubt, I don't know about that.
I will say this. Luka Doncic is one of the best young superstars in the NBA. We've seen this kid develop in 2 years to be one of the most highly profiled players in the NBA. For the Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban, bringing Kristaps Porzingis, a player that he played with overseas, knows the game, it does help him grow as a player. The problem with the Dallas Mavericks is they don't have that other superstar player. They don't have that type of player. They need that third guy, and their bench is not that good. And that's the problem with the Dallas Mavericks. To win a championship, you need that bench help. They don't have that anymore. And they had Barnes. They had all these different players that they decided to move away from because they thought bringing in Kristaps Porzingis and paying him the $100 million contract that he wanted, he decided to wean his way away from the New York Knicks because he didn't want to play there for that organization, which to me was a crock of you-know-what. But do I think Luka Doncic is going to win a championship in the next 3 or 4 years? Unless Dallas finds a way to add another superstar in the draft or try to tally away from some of the players that they've given big contracts to, Tim Hardaway Jr. being one of them, they're not going to win a championship because they don't have enough on their bench to do that. Is Luka Doncic going to be that next big superstar? I think him and Giannis are the next big superstars in the NBA.
Absolutely, I agree. He's a superstar, but there's a lot of superstars in the NBA right now, but that aren't champions. Mm-hmm. For example, Chris Paul, that dude's a perennial all-star, and big name in the NBA. He's always on commercials, just like you're saying, but he wasn't a champion. He's never won a championship. So that's my take regarding Luka Doncic being a champion. But I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think their bench is really good. I think they have some good guys on the bench.
Who?
Curry.
Who? Seth Curry?
Seth Curry, yeah.
Seth Curry's
been okay, but he's not a consistent guy.
He's not a consistent player. He's a good three-point shooter. He's not his brother. And he's more known as a defensive player than he is as an offensive player. So is he a good player? He's a quality player coming off the bench. Is he a player that's going to help you win a championship? If you add another big-time player, like if you add a Carmelo Anthony to that team that's going to give you a 19, 20-point off the bench, right, yeah, then you could start talking about your bench being good. But they don't have a player like that coming off the bench.
They're stuck with too many bad contracts.
Anthony, no, they need to stay away from him. They need another defensive player. They need another gritty defensive player.
Well, I'm not saying Carmelo Anthony, Kevin, I'm not saying Carmelo Anthony. They need a Carmelo Anthony-esque type of player that's going to give you 18, 19, or 20 points off the bench. They don't have a player of that magnitude, and that's the problem with the Dallas Mavericks. And those players are not easy to find.
Yeah, I think what they really need is a rough and rugged guy down low. Powell's out this season. He was kind of that guy. He was like that defensive anchor, just all effort, do the dirty work type of player. They really don't have that. Kristaps Porzingis, he's not that guy. He's a flash guy. He's a skills player. Mm-hmm. They need a rough and rugged, down and dirty guy who's going to get in there, throw some elbows around, get some big boards.
Maybe they could hire you. Maybe they could hire you.
I wish I'd come there get rid of Cuban in a heartbeat. I don't like Cuban.
Well, how much will Mark need to pay you to drop elbows on some of the best players in the NBA?
Oh, they can give me at least $2 million.
$2 million?
I'm ready to go.
I'll take $100,000. I'll drop knees on some of the players. I'll drop knees, elbows, whatever you want for $100,000.
Hey, my next point before I head out, Jokic. Mm-hmm. I've seen some pictures recently, and the dude looks skinny. Mm-hmm. He's freaking skinny. And people were saying he needs to lose some weight. I don't know about that. I think his weight benefited him because he's not like a real quick unless he comes back and he's really quick all of a sudden, real agile. But that wasn't his game. He was like a bulky. He used to throw his weight around and real athletic, real talented around the basket. Had a nice touch. But what do you guys think about that?
Well,
him losing weight.
Well, and I saw Jokic. I saw the pictures of Jokic and how thin he got. First of all, he has got some of the best footwork in the NBA. And as a big man, you need that footwork. And losing weight only helps his footwork laterally. And I think that's why, because he became one of the best big men perimeter shooters in the NBA. And using the pick and roll the way they do in the way they play, especially in Denver, it's only going to make him better on the outside to the inside. The guy is a tremendous athlete, and I think it's only going to help him. Now, if it doesn't, he could always put that weight back. It's not hard to put weight back from losing it. So I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think it's going to make him a better player.
Jokic he's not got the respect, man. And what he's been doing, I think he's like 10th all time in triple doubles, and he's been in the league how long? A short amount of time. He's like a walking triple-double.
Yep. He's a fantastic player.
The effortless, the buzzer beaters, he's pretty much been carrying the Denver Nuggets. But people want to put Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns and all these other players. That don't make no sense. I think Jokic is highly underrated. I think he's a top 10 player right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Best center in the league. I think he's the best center in the league. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup from what I foresee. The Denver Nuggets versus the Mavericks in the first round. I want to get your guys' thoughts on if they play, and I'll leave it to it. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Kevin. It's going to be a great series. And the Nuggets and the Mavericks, I think the Nuggets are going to kill them. I think they're going to kill them. They're just a better all-around team. They have so much depth. You want to talk about a team that has one of the best benches in the NBA, that's the Nuggets. They're loaded on the bench. And they're as dangerous as the Lakers, as dangerous as any team right now in the Western Conference. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Oregon softball player Shea Bowden here on Below the Mic.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Speedy, you going to dance or what, man? Public Enemy? Speedy, don't dance. Please, you're scaring me. You don't want to scare the fans. You really don't. 631-965-4990. As you know, this is Below the Mic. We are live every single Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. New York Eastern Time. And remember, you can call us at 631-965-4990 and go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. We talked to Mark Hudak. And now we're talking to our second guest, and I was very intrigued when I heard she was going to come on with us. Shout out to Jillian and Ricky for reaching out to her. We are now talking to Oregon softball player Shea Bowden. What's going on, Shea?
Hi there. How are you guys?
We are good, man. New York, rainy, disgusting, humid. And I'm sitting next to this guy. He kind of has a little stench to him, so...
Do what you gotta do.
Yes, well, that's Speedy for you. Anyways, how are you and your family doing with the pandemic?
We're doing really well. My parents are both real estate agents and construction workers, so they actually are doing okay because they bought a house and so they're redoing that. So their lives haven't changed too much, which is a really big blessing.
Are you helping? Are you helping them? Are you helping them fix that house up?
I'm trying. I helped them with the first house. The second house, I've been a little lazy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm still in school. So we have finals this week. I took my last final today. But I've been doing really well. I had surgery about 5 weeks ago, and I'm recovering, so that's really nice.
I saw your pictures on Instagram, and you gave the 2 thumbs up. So why did you have surgery?
I tore my labrum playing softball last year, and so we've just kind of been going through the recovery process. We wanted to make sure that it was the right thing to do.
We are talking to Oregon softball player Shea Bowden. Shea, tell us a little bit about Oregon and playing for a very well-known school that's sponsored by Nike, which I think it's only one. I think they're the only school that actually sponsored by Nike.
They're one of the, I think, only 4 or something Power 5 conferences, I think it is.
Tell us a little bit about your school, the academic, and really the softball team and the sports over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being in Oregon it's completely different from Arizona, which is where I'm originally from. And I went there on my unofficial visit, and I just absolutely fell in love with the whole environment of, like, the campus and just how beautiful it is. I walked into the softball field. Before it was the James Sanders Stadium, and it was, like, basically just a bunch of cement stadium that wasn't big, but I just fell so in love with the school. The team is absolutely amazing. Obviously, we went through a little turbulence my sophomore season, and so coming from that, our team has grown so much, and we're all best friends. Like, one of my teammates is visiting right now, and we keep in contact every single day. So it's really nice. But the academics it's college. You know how it is. It is what it is.
Oh, my God. I hated school. And I was a big-time hockey player. I hated it. And I actually lost my scholarship for hurting my knee, and that's a whole nother story. And this is not about me. This is about you, Shay. But I did not like school. I am not one of those people. I was an athlete. I was born an athlete. I was not an academic type of person. So Speedy right over here.
Majoring in athletics.
Yeah, he's more of the academic type of guy. I mean, me,
there we go.
I'm more of the speaking, smack you in the back of the head kind of guy, you know?
Shay, you talk about that 2019 season. It was very impressive. 33 RBIs. You had a .315 batting average on that Oregon team last year. Talk about the approach you had during that season, the growth of your game, and some of your favorite plays.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of just a free kind of year. You know, we didn't have nobody really had any intentions for us. Like, everybody was kind of just like thinking we were the underdog. So we didn't really have a lot of pressure on our shoulders. And that's when I played the best. And I think that having my team behind me and being able to rely on them and knowing that they were never going to give up made the game just so much easier to play. Hitting is always one of those things where it's either off or it's on. There's never a good balance. And I think that there were times last year where we could definitely see that I was struggling, and same with the team. We struggled sometimes, but at the end of the day, like, we tried our best with what we had. I think something that stood out to me was I hadn't caught before last year in probably 4 years. So that was my first season catching in about 4 years. So being able to throw out as many people as I did and having, like, my team support me through all of it and help me get back into the catching shape was what stood out the most in the season for me personally.
Now, Shay, what is it like? I mean, and I've seen some of these pitchers in college throw, and some of them throw like 93, 95 miles per hour, and they throw these softballs, which were twice the size of a baseball. And this can come at your head. It can come inside. What is it like standing in the box and seeing one of these things whiff right past your head? What is it like?
It's intense. One of the girls we faced, Washington, Ternazzello, she throws 71 consistently, like 70 to 71. And me and one of my teammates, before the game, we put the machine on 68, and we stood 10 feet away from the machine and just swung. Just to look at a ball. But it's absolutely intense. Like, you have Rachel Garcia throwing a rise ball inside on your hands, and it is the most interesting thing when you look at it on the outside, but in the box it doesn't seem as bad, but it's definitely, it freaks you out for sure.
I'll tell you this. I've watched some of these girls pitch, and it looks like it's going to go low, and then it shifts high. It just elevates. And it's funny because my friend actually coaches high school out here, and I came to one of his practices, true story. And I am a good baseball player. I was always a good baseball player. Never struck out. Never. I struck out maybe twice in high school.
Wow.
Okay? And I stood in the box with this girl, and he told me, you have to watch this girl pitch. She was a sixth grader. And she was throwing 68 or 69 miles per hour. I was like, I can hit a 68, 69 mile. I hit 90 mile per hour fastballs and curveballs that go 80. I can hit this. I'll tell you this right now. She not only embarrassed me, the parents were laughing. I was standing there in the box. I was like, it shifted. It dipped. And the way they put spin on the ball and how big the ball is, I don't know how these young girls get the grip that they do to maneuver the
I
ball
know.
the way they do. It's unbelievable.
It's insane, especially how much the game's developed with the younger girls.
Now, you play multiple positions on your team. You mentioned you're playing catcher last season, and you also play first base and right field. Which one is your favorite to play, and which do you think you're best at?
My favorite is catcher, and I think I'm also best at catcher. Like it comes naturally to me. I grew up catching my entire life, so I think I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the entire field. I enjoy all of the ability to direct plays and stuff like that. I really enjoy that, and I really enjoy the battery of me and my pitcher. And it's something I work extremely hard on. So.
Oh, just tell the truth. You like the control. Come on. You like the control behind the plate.
Okay, I like the control.
To me, and I want to know your opinion, because me and this guy for years have been arguing about positions in baseball and softball. Please tell this guy, what is the most important position to play in baseball? He thinks it's center field. I have said shortstop. My second position would be catcher. Tell him, what is the most important defensive and offensive position to play?
Okay, so I'm a little biased, but I definitely think catcher and shortstop. So I agree with you. The only reason why I say that is because the shortstop is the commander of all the infield, and the catcher is the commander of the entire field. We see every single play, and the shortstop sees everything happening within the infield.
Are you listening to this, Speedy?
Of course.
Are you listening to how many people have we asked so far?
Yes, I know.
From
I have the hot
softball,
take.
and I just love driving the knife back into you, man. I love it.
All right, I have the hot take. I think I'm aware of that. Talk about, again, the substitution method with those positions. You play around in different spots, catcher, first base. Now, the substitution method in softball is different, and we actually had a softball coach on Tuesday in Lauren Laporte of James Madison talk about it from a managerial standpoint. From a player standpoint, is it something you embrace, switching positions all the time? And do you like the strategy as a whole, and how does it help your game?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. I enjoy being versatile because I think not only does it help my team, but it also helps me develop as a player. So I think going from catching, which is very hands-on every single play, to maybe going to right field where you might get a ball maybe once a game, if not twice, or not even at all. But it's being able to be versatile so that your coach can make the decisions that are smart for the team. And our entire team is versatile. We have people playing all over the place all the time. And I think that's going to be crucial, especially for next year, having that so that we don't just have to rely on those same individual people at the same positions.
We are talking to Oregon softball player and star in Speedy and my eyes, Shea Bowden. And by the way, your numbers are fantastic. Before the show, I asked Speedy, who are we interviewing today? Because sometimes I'm working on so many other stuff for the network. I didn't know who we were interviewing. And then he told me about you, and then he said, go look at her numbers. I'm looking at your numbers. I'm like, these are her numbers? So I am very, very impressed. My question to you is, I watch the World Series of softball, and I get a chance to watch the United States softball team. When the big games, I get the opportunity to watch some of these girls play. And I think it's unbelievable that some of these girls on the field, actually every single one of these girls, are multi-positional players. Like, there are pitchers that can play center field, and the center fielder can come in and play pitcher. The third baseman could pitch. I mean, it's fantastic when I want to see baseball like that. I like to see all different players have multifaceted positions, that they can play multiple positions in the game, where it can make them even more money or better opportunities in the future if they decide to play even longer in their careers.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's just say girls can better adjust. That's all I got to say.
Well, there you have it. I mean, girl power.
But no, I totally agree. I mean, I think that definitely, as we always told, you're too small to catch, you're too small to do this, you're going to get recruited if you play multiple positions, it's going to look better. And then you kind of just grow up playing multiple positions because, well, not. I mean, what is it going to hurt at the end of the day? If anything, it's making me a better person and a better versatile player, which is going to help my team overall. So.
Do you think that maybe that throughout your career, because there's still plenty of time, do you think you could end up possibly playing even more positions, even pitching at certain points? Or do you think you'll stick to the three you're already playing?
Pitching is absolutely no-go. My hands are too small. I can't do that. No.
Well, you and Speedy have a lot in common then.
Hey, we're vibing. I played short when I was growing up, like shortstop. I got recruited as a shortstop, actually. That's what I was coming into college for. And then I ended up playing right field, and then I ended up playing second base. And then last year I played third base, first base, right field, catcher, and second base. So the only position I haven't played is center field because our center fielder is really good and she doesn't like to get hurt or move around. So it's a little selfish if I have to say so.
Don't let her listen to this interview.
Oh, she's right. She's in the room. Don't you worry.
We are talking to Oregon softball player Shea Bowden. Oh, my God. Shea, you got some personality. But I'll tell you this. When we were about to go on with the show, I did look at your Instagram, and you like to have a lot of fun. I can see that. You like to have fun with your girlfriends. Tell us a little bit about your life out of softball. What do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies and recreational things that you do off the field?
Yeah, so I'm a really outdoorsy person. So I love to hike, and especially in Oregon. I mean, I'll go hiking in the mountains with like maybe one other person or just by myself and go to a waterfall and jump in the water. We'll just go on a hike. We have a hike right now down the street, and it's called Spencer's Deep, and it looks over all of Eugene, so we can see our stadium and everything. And it's beautiful. It's kind of my getaway for sure. I'm also really into photography, so I try to take my teammates and I try to make them model for me. And a lot of times they don't want to, and it's not fair. But anything to do with outdoors. I mean, we hang out all the time. We are social butterflies. We like to do everything together.
Well, Speedy's a social butterfly, or maybe a social beetle. You're like a beetle.
Social beetle.
Yeah, you're like a beetle. Yeah, I wouldn't say a butterfly. You're not much to look at, so I would say beetle.
Fair enough. What has your experience like been with Oregon? You mentioned you grew up in Arizona. Probably, again, we're a fan of either Arizona or Arizona State, one of your rivals at that, playing now for Oregon. What have been the big differences? And again, what were some of the things that made you choose Oregon as a whole, both, again, with the athletic programs? They have a lot of good ones, too. Basketball team that made the Final Four, football team that was very good this year. You had a Sabrina Ionescu. Yeah. What were some of those experiences like, and what were the big reasons you chose Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, the experiences of being an Oregon athlete is absolutely amazing. I would say that coming from Arizona to there has been a huge adjustment, mainly with the weather. I'm used to having it always be sunny and like 115, but now I go and it's cloudy and rainy and it's 52 instead of 100, and it's just kind of like I had to buy a bunch of new clothes, and I don't know. That's the biggest struggle for me. It was moving. I'm a very independent person, so leaving my family was hard, but it wasn't like making my decision for me. And they're super supportive with what decision I did choose to make. I would say the athletics department is absolutely probably one of the best I've ever even heard of and or been a part of, obviously. They care about us so much as people. And experiencing Stadium every single Saturday was one of the most amazing things all of my 3 years. Me and a few of my teammates actually get front row seats every single time and just like scream the entire game. We get there 2 hours early and just sit in the front and we enjoy the game.
Do you quack?
The basketball.
Do you quack?
What?
Do you quack?
We do not quack.
Oh, man. Come in.
I'm not even sure how that would work. We should get like a little thing that does it for us.
I have a ringtone.
I'm going to get a pet duck.
I would love to see you quack. That would be funny. I have the whole fans just start quacking in the audience. Like Mighty Ducks, you know? There we go. And you could say that I'm the one that gave you that idea. So it'll be something spiritual for me and for you, and you can remember this interview.
Maybe they could do it like the Long Island Ducks and get those like duck whistles, duck-bill whistles.
That's exactly what we need.
Oh, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just saying, like, basketball, I mean, obviously Sabrina Ionescu, it's weird because like she's such a star, and to like actually know her personally. And I'm not like super close with her, but be able to see her like walking around campus and not be like you're starstruck, but you're also like, hey, like I've had a conversation with you. Like I actually know who you are. This is crazy that I'm walking in the same street as you. So it's definitely interesting. Like seeing Justin Herbert, you're like, whoa, like you're big time, dude. But like I see you and sit next to you at breakfast. It's weird.
Let's hope he becomes a good quarterback in the NFL.
I really hope so.
So they don't kill him.
He's such a good person.
We don't want to see him get killed. I mean, we've heard enough on social media about him that everybody thinks he's going to be a bust. I don't think. I think he's the best quarterback in this year's draft. That's just me. But we are talking to Oregon's softball player, Shea Bowden. Shea, have you ever hit a piñata before?
Have I ever what?
Hit a piñata.
Yes.
Well, good, because we're working on something for the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're going to tie Speedy up and tie him to a string to a tree. And we're going to get baseball and softball players. We're going to blindfold them and see who gets the best swing on Speedy. And whoever does get the best swing on Speedy gets to come in to the studio and do a show with us and watch Speedy lay there.
I'll be dead. You'll have to, it'll be you.
Are we replacing him or?
Well,
yes, essentially you are, because if you're going to have a competition, I'd probably be dead.
So when you take this spot.
And when we're done, we'll take pictures of it and we'll hang it up in the auditorium for the Oregon Ducks. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, that sounds exciting.
You see that, Speedy? I've got her on my side.
Yes, they're not the victim. Of course they would do it. If they were the victim, they wouldn't like it.
Like a bunch of stuff, we're good.
Well, there you go. But really, seriously, what is your I mean, me, and I was an athlete too, and I grew up a big-time athlete, and I was getting looked at from NHL teams when I was 16 years old, 15 years old. What is it like playing with players that could be the next United States softball superstar for USA softball? What is it like playing against some of the great softball players in the country?
Oh, it's absolutely insane. For example, like Fifth Bates, she plays for Washington. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who she is at this point. But playing against her, I actually roomed with her at USA Junior Tryouts. And she was by far just one of the sweetest people. But seeing her on the field, you would never, like, she's just a monster. She's so good. And then hitting against Rachel Garcia, I mean, it's absolutely, like, mind-boggling that I'm going up against a future Olympian. And then also Deja Mulitola at U of A, a catcher. I haven't seen many people steal on her, and it's just cool that, like, you get to play on the same field that people are going to represent your country with, and I think that's just awesome.
You obviously, being a softball player growing up, you obviously know that the Olympics took it away for a while. I think after 2008, they took it away for the last two Summer Olympics, and as baseball as well. What do you think were the biggest reasons for that? And what do you think, are you surprised that they took it away, being it was very popular and they were a very successful team?
Yeah, so from my understanding, they took it away for a few reasons. One of the main reasons is you have to have a boy and a girl sport in order to compete. And what I was told was that the MLB didn't want to lose their best of their best players during the midst of their season, which totally makes sense. But it was also income. We weren't getting as many views during the Olympics as maybe other sports, and so I think it kind of caused a problem. Softball isn't super, super popular in many other countries, as well as baseball. And I'm not surprised they took it away, but I'm really happy that they brought it back because I think that was the best decision overall.
As you guys know, we are talking to Oregon softball player Shea Bowden. Shea, you grew up looking up to certain people. I'm sure your parents are two people. They're hardworking, as you said. They're construction workers. They fix houses and sell houses. Is there a particular athlete growing up as a baseball player or a softball player that you looked up to that you wanted to be just like?
Hey, you're probably going to laugh, but Buster Posey.
Really?
Oh, my gosh. I am obsessed with him. See, that's why I'm number 28. Like, I am absolutely obsessed with this man. I think that he plays the game for all the right reasons. And I think that what he advocates is for all the right reasons. And I really just love the way he played the game and the way that he changed the game as well. And he always played with, like, you could tell, I don't know, you can tell when players are playing for the money, and you can tell when people are playing for the love of the game. And I could always just tell that he was playing for the love of the game. And I really just wanted to strive to be just like that.
You playing at Oregon, you're in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 throughout the Power 5 conferences I've always been known as the conference of parity. They have the Pac-12 after dark crazy games for football and basketball and baseball and softball, obviously, several sports, and it just seems like there's a lot of parity. What is it like being involved in that kind of conference where, again, anything could happen kind of thing? There's not really one amazing team for a lot of the sports, but there's a lot of really good teams, whereas, again, you see other conferences be top-heavy. What is that kind of experience like in those conference games?
It's intense for sure. My freshman year, we were battling with UCLA and Washington for a Pac-12 championship, and it was head-to-head. It was down to the last game. And so we never really were comfortable with where we stood, and I think that that's something that drives competition and then drives so much. It makes the game a lot more fun because you're starting to play for something, and you're playing against a bunch of people, and these people are absolutely amazing. And like last year, like I said, we weren't, the best in the pack, but we still would compete with these teams, and you were like, wait, I remember you guys not being so great last year, but now you guys are competing for the top 5 or the top 3, So I think it changes every year based off your recruiting class and the transfers, and I think that's super cool to just be able to see that and never know what's going to happen.
Before we let you go, Shay, could you tell us what your plans are in the future? Do you plan to try out for the United States softball team? What are your plans as an athlete and plans after you graduate from Oregon?
Yeah, so with the whole COVID thing, I'm hoping that I get my 2 years. As of right now, I have both my years back. And so I plan on finishing in 2022, which is a little crazy to think. But after that, I do plan on it. Again, it all depends on what happens in my life. But if it were to be right now, I'd plan on hanging up my cleats, actually. And I am working to be in physician's assistant school. So I want to be a PA. And that's 2 years of school outside of what I am right now. And they actually don't allow you to coach or do anything on the side. Mm-hmm. So I'd be just a student for another 2 years. But if I do end up, obviously, if I get the honor to try out for the USA team, I would never pass that opportunity up. So.
Well, I'll tell you this. We're rooting for you. I'm backing you up on this. And you're on Team Errol, not Team Speedy. So team motivation, you could be our fan now. I hope you follow us. We really appreciate you joining us, and we would love to get you on when the softball season does begin again. I want you to stay in touch with us. Tell everybody to follow us, laugh at Speedy, and trust me, we are going to have a piñata, and we're going to hang Speedy up on a tree. So if you're not going to hit him, and half the baseball players we interview are not going to hit him, I'm going to do it for all of you. So don't worry.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me today. I actually had a blast. You guys are hilarious.
Thank you so much. Before we let you go, tell the fans how they can find you on social media.
How we can what?
How they can find you on social media.
So you guys are going to go to Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Twitter, and we're going to press the follow button, and then you can go to my Instagram, click on my story, and then click the little thing that I posted and follow them on Instagram.
Oh, you are the best. Stay in touch.
Look at that. A little promotion.
Stay in touch and tell everybody to follow us. And by the way, tell the people over there, do you have iOS or do you have Droid?
I have an Apple.
You have an Apple, iOS. When you get off the phone with us, go to your iOS store, search WWSRN. Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's WWSRN. Download our app. Tell all your friends and all your fans to follow us. We would love for you guys to follow us. And by the way, we would love to come down there maybe soon because we are going to be traveling soon and interview some of the players on your team and some of your coaches. We would love to do that.
Yes, absolutely. We would love that. And I'll make sure to let everybody know.
All right. So definitely download that app. It just came up about 2 months ago. It's one of the best, hottest apps right now for sports radio. So there you go. That's the selling point. We
got someone to promote it. You didn't even ask.
Yes, you got to promote us.
You got to start posting dancing videos, and you'll be good.
Oh, you want to see some dancing videos? I will send you I will tell. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to do you a favor. I will this week. I'm going to do a dancing video. And we're going to do a TikTok video, me and Speedy, and we're going to post it all over social media. I guarantee you we'll have people laughing. Download our app and tell everybody to download our app. I promise you, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to hold I'm going to hold a piece of paper saying, Shay, this is for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm holding you accountable right now.
I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word. You'll see me do it.
Perfect. I'm a woman of mine.
Oh, there you go. Shay, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a great night, guys.
Absolutely. Shay Bowden, great interview. Funny.
Yes.
She wants to beat you up.
Yes.
She does.
Seems like all the guests want to beat me up.
Well, we have Anthony on the show tomorrow, so that I can beat him up next.
Thank God. I get a psychological relief.
Well, somebody's got to beat you up, Speedy. If it's not me, it's got to be somebody else. Why not a woman that can hit for 353 in a softball game? So there you go.
Now I have to plot.
Before we go, there's what was the story we missed?
The MLB draft, I think.
Yes. I don't know if anybody watched the MLB draft yesterday, and it was very interesting, and I was very surprised who the Yankees drafted. And this draft was full of great pitchers, and everybody was saying that this draft was cluttered with great pitching. And there was only 5 rounds in this year's draft because of the whole COVID-19. The Yankees added a catcher, which to me, either they're thinking, and I know the Yankees like to double up on catchers. Over the years, they've grown. A lot of great catchers have grown through their farm systems. Jorge Posada being one of them, Gary Sanchez being another one, and we can go back and forth on some of the catchers that we've seen. But the Yankees decided at I think it was the 18th or 19th pick.
It was 28. Austin Wells.
I'm sorry.
Catcher.
Yes, 28. They drafted a catcher. And I was very surprised with that. Now, Austin was supposed to be a top 15 pick when I was reading about him. He was supposed to be possibly, some people said, a top 10 pick, but he fell all the way to 28. Now, I'm questioning the pick. I like what the Mets did, by the way.
Yeah, they took a player that was, for some people, I think, thought of as a top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm. I really like the kid that they pick, an outfielder, a guy that can multifaceted and power, right. Can hit for average. And he's a great defensive player.
A lot of people are saying he could be the best defensive player in the draft.
So I was very surprised with the Yankees and the Mets. And the Mets, I think the Mets yesterday won the first round of the draft, and the Yankees, even though I don't know much about Austin Wells, and Austin Wells could turn out to be the best player in this year's draft, absolutely could. And what you hear about him, the guy has tremendous power and can hit all over the field and hit for average for a catcher. I think eventually he will be a first baseman. I don't think he's a catcher in this league.
Well, you wonder when they'll end up coming up, because catchers can take a while to develop too. It's one of those positions like you and Shay were saying, it's a big premium, and a lot of the times they're hard to find. So that might take a while, especially with Sanchez already there. What's interesting is actually the Yankees actually drafted him, I think, 2017 as well, and then he went to school. So we'll have to see how that ends up helping him, and maybe the experience with the little bit he was with the organization. Obviously wasn't in their farm system, but the little bit he was with the organization, how he could get used to it.
What did you think about the draft? Who do you think won the draft? I was, a lot of people were very surprised that Spencer went number 1, because a lot of people thought Spencer was a top 4, top 5 pick. He wasn't going to. There were a couple of pitchers that went 3 and 4. Max Meyer, who was the best pitcher in the draft.
That's the other guy who was thought of as number 1 outside of Torkelson. And then Emerson Hancock to the Mariners. One of our guests was mentioning him a couple of weeks ago as one of the guys they faced. I think it was the URI coach. I think he was mentioning him as one of the big guys to watch. So the fact that he fell to 6 was very interesting too. I also like the kid that the Phillies drafted too, Mick Abel. He's a nice young pitcher that I think he is definitely somebody to look at in the Nationals.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9 right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Coming up next here at the 4 p.m. hour is Daily BS with your host, Brian Snow from Snowman in the Morning. Enjoy.
Nice days can come with a hidden cost. Seasonal allergies. So the Weather Channel built an allergy forecast using IBM Watson. It draws insights from local weather data, predicting allergy risk up to 15 days out. Now you can stay informed and enjoy nice days for what they are. Get allergy insights with Watson on the Weather Channel app and weather.com.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS.
Do you believe it?
Sports and culture combined into one.
Michael on the drive across the lane. Turnaround shot. Got it. 63 for Jordan. Are you kidding me? He did what?
The Daily BS begins.
Bazinga.
Right now.
Hey, googly moogly.
Hadouken!
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Can't wait.
So with the coronavirus pandemic going on, I thought I'd share a little something humorous to begin the show today. And as you folks know, my wife and I go to work, take care of business, come home, then I get set up and I do the show. But on a few occasions, for some reason, probably because I'm old, I become very forgetful. So as much as I do a checklist before I go to a game, my wife, and I love her dearly for this, has shouted a checklist to me before we go to work. So she'll shout things like my wallet, my glasses, my keys, my car keys, my water bottle. And there have been mornings, I gotta tell you, where I would come out of the house, be ready to roll, you know, sunrise coming up and everything, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to do this. Yeah. Then, through my own fault, I would have to run back in the house and get something that I forgot that was on the checklist. And I love my wife dearly. She would just look at me and point a finger at me and go, "Meester," and I can't do it in full voice because I don't have all of my voice back yet. But it's gotten better, but some days it gets worse. Because there was one morning we would get ready to go. I put my wallet, my keys, car keys in the same pocket that I usually do when I wear my jacket or my pants. I want to make sure it's on one side and make sure I have everything. Get in the car, get cranked up, ready to go. And at the last second, my wife turns to me and says, "Where are your glasses?" And I said, "They're on my face." She says, "You want to look again?" And she shot me this look. You know, husbands, you know the look that your wife gives you that you should have obviously done something and you didn't do it, and they just give you this look of, "Really? Really, really? You're going to do that to me?" And my wife does it in fun. My wife does it in pure fun, because there have been times lately where I have been very forgetful. I have been very forgetful, period. Okay, that's just bottom line. But she shot me this look that was so hilarious of, "Why are you doing this? Are you doing this just to mess with me?" And I really thought I put my glasses on. Get up, take a shower, we get our breakfast, run around, make sure we have everything covered, make sure the dog goes out, make sure the critters are put up, because we got a dog and a cat. We have a dog and a cat. And I think, okay, I got everything done. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll now. I'm ready to get this day started. Nope, not this morning. Not this particular morning. I forgot my glasses. And they were sitting here right on my desk. And guess what else was sitting on my desk? My water bottle. You know what else is sitting on my desk? The pen that I need to go to work. And she looked at me, she says, "Mister, you march right into the house right now and make sure you got everything." So I came back out, ready to crank up and go again. Water bottle, wallet, keys, both sets of keys, car keys and house keys. And I'm ready to crank up. I'm ready to go. And we still got a few minutes before we have to take off because we have an hour drive to get to work. And I sit down in the seat. And you know how your spider senses go off? That's like, okay, I forgot something. I don't know what I forgot, but I forgot something this time. Yeah, my glasses were still on my desk. And my wife and my daughter just started cracking up laughing. And I'm still not awake yet. I still haven't had my first cup of coffee, and I'll talk about my addiction to coffee and how I'm going to tackle that later on in the show. I'm still sitting, I'm looking at my wife, I'm looking at my daughter, and I'm going, why are y'all laughing at me? And then I reach up and I touch my face, and I still don't have my glasses. And I sat there we sat there for a good 5 minutes laughing. I get out of the car, go into the house, finally grab my glasses, and I put them on. And I made sure we had everything. But, you know me, go through everything. I came back in this house 3 times. I came back in the house 3 separate times. All 3 times, I forgot my glasses. And I'm attached to my glasses as I got them last year. My wife got them for me last year as a wedding gift, so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. But it's like, why am I so forgetful? And husbands do this happens to husbands. Okay? It happened to my dad so many times over. It's like, okay, I'm ready to go, ready to crank up and get going. And one morning, and I borrow this from Bill Cosby because this actually happened to me. I was working on something in my office, and I took off my glasses. I had my headphones on, and I'm not used to having my headphones and my glasses on at the same time, except when I'm on assignment. So I put my glasses, you know how you put your sunglasses on, it's right over your head, and they're on your ears? I must have walked around the house for a couple of hours going, where the hell are my glasses? And that was one of the few times my wife did not answer me. I said, where are my glasses? And she goes, I don't know, honey. And she's sitting across from me, you know, playing a video game, you know, in her mind going, you dummy, look at your head. And I'm glad she didn't say anything that's obvious. It's like, okay, I gotta find my glasses. I go into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I lost it. I started cracking up laughing. I come back, I sit down, and my wife looks at me and she says, so you finally figured out where your glasses are, huh? I said, yes, I did. When you get older, you forget a lot of stuff, basic stuff. With me, it just happens to be my glasses. And I must have forgotten my glasses going to work 3 out of the 5 days during the week that we go to work. I have to come back in the house and get my glasses. I'm just sitting there going, are you kidding me right now? So now I have my glasses on my desk, and I leave them there when I go to bed. They're next to my vitamins, they're next to my water bottle, they're next to everything I need to go to work. And I make sure that I have to put them on before I walk out of the house. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to walk out of here and I'm going to forget them again. I know what's going to happen. I got to make sure that I don't forget them again. Just thought I would start out. I can't even talk this morning. I'm laughing so much. Just thought I'd start out with something funny to get the show going. I'm going to pause for a break, and I got some more stuff for you. So, enjoy. Back in the deuce.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS. Sports and culture combined into one.
Normally, when I bring a guest on, it's usually that, a guest. But then, something came across my desk, and I had to have both of these guests on at the same time. Never thought something like this will happen or would happen, but I'm glad it's happening right now, and you folks are around for it. Please help me welcome this mother-daughter duo in radio, Shirley Walker King and Valencia King. And they're going to tell you their story through their eyes. How are you doing, ladies? Great to have you.
Hello, hello, and hello. Hey, hey, great to be on.
I hear the hey, hey, and it reminds me of my hometown of Chicago, and now I'm really ready to get going. How are you guys doing? Great to have you.
We're doing great, thank you. Actually, Valencia was born in Illinois because my husband, we were stationed in Waukegan, Illinois. So maybe that's that little vibe you were getting.
Waukegan, Illinois, a north suburb. Those of you in Chicago that listen to the program, you're familiar with Waukegan. So, man, oh man, like I said, I am thrilled to have you on. Tell me how you guys got into radio. I am so interested to hear this story.
Okay, the short of the long and the long of the short. I am a former professional basketball player, so I have played sports pretty much all my life. It was my outlet to keep me from having to go to anger management classes, so it worked for me.
I'm loving this story already, folks.
Right. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, she's followed in her mother's footsteps. Well, not technically. She kind of did it her own way. So I know sports from the aspect of I'm a former athlete, and I did some radio, not a lot, just some volunteer radio while we were stationed overseas in Italy, and that was my only exposure to radio. But taking into my daughter, how Valencia got into it, now that's an interesting story in itself. Yeah, so for me, I played some sports growing up, but I was always more of the performing arts, the drama, the theater, the dance. I just wanted to be on stage in front of the camera, performing a show. And so after I finished, I think it was my 7th grade year, I played I played volleyball and some basketball. But then from there, I pretty much knew that I just wanted to be, in front of the camera and on stage or in front of a microphone. And so while my mom was playing basketball, I would, keep the stats for her. But sometimes if you ask me, I think I coached them to a couple of championships. And, I would just be in on that side of it. So I've always, like you said, been around sports. I've been a gym baby for years, but I just kind of grew into going into it on that side of it, more or less like covering the game.
Man, oh man, very great story. And Shirley, absolutely awesome the way you put it. And if I'm allowed to quote, I played basketball to keep me out of anger management classes. I so understand that.
Yeah, it kept me out of the principal's office, and it kept my mother from having to come up to the school to talk about what Shirley or her sisters have gotten into this week. So she only had to come up there for my sister.
Oh, gracious. If it keeps you out of trouble and keeps you out of the principal's office, then, there should be no complaints about it. These two folks, this mother-daughter duo, 2019 Business Women of the Year, they are indeed the dynamic duo. Valencia, tell the folks about your show.
Oh, absolutely. So I began my show as Real Talk Radio back in February of 2011. And so kind of like how the nation is in a quarantine at the moment, it wasn't as severe. Back in 2011, I was in college at UNT, and we got snowed in for an additional week after spring break. So that's about 14 or so odd days of everyone on the college campus not being able to go anywhere, barely even making it to the cafeteria without falling on ice.
Right.
And I told my parents that I had wanted to start, doing an online radio show. And I said, well, now's the time because we're all stuck in our dorm, so everyone should be listening. And so from there, I grew it into, doing it while I was in college. And then I actually met Bill Wright, who owns KKVI Radio, at a community event, told him about my show. He knew this is what I was going to school for, and he offered me the platform of bringing my online radio show to his FM station, and it kind of grew from there. So I've been doing radio and having my own show since about February of 2011 under Real Talk Radio, which has now grown into Real Talk Sports as well. So, yeah.
Man, and I had a chance to catch a piece of that show, and folks, you need to follow these two, and you need to listen to Valencia's show. It's absolutely fantastic. A couple of other points that I want to touch on. These two, they are workshop facilitators as well. They do seminars, breakout sessions, and when I read your information, did some more research, there is one subject that came to me that I wanted you all to touch on, and it's something that I went through for the better part of 10 years. So it's like you get that point, and Valencia, from being a radio host, you hear that one point or see that one point or that one buzzword, and you sink in and you want to attack this. Anybody that has been through any kind of bullying, be it cyberbullying or in-person bullying, please talk to these two, because they love talking about it. What gave you the idea to include this in you guys' topics?
I'll lead her into it. It actually started. Now this is going to date her, not me, because I'm very young at heart. It actually started when they